we ready, PIO? We'll go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your Honors, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is a continuation of the public panel interview of candidates for the position of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. Before proceeding, let's have the centennial prayer for the courts, the national anthem, and the Supreme Court hymn.
Almighty God, we stand in your holy presence as our supreme judge. We humbly beseech you to bless and inspire us so that what we think, say, and do will be in accordance with your will. Enlighten our minds, strengthen our spirit, and fill our hearts with fraternal love, wisdom, and understanding, so that we can be effective channels of truth, justice, and peace. In our proceedings today, guide us in the path of righteousness for the fulfillment of your greater glory. Amen.
Your Honors, again, good morning.
Morning.
The panel of interviewers this morning shall be the following. The Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza, Chairperson of the JBC Executive Committee, and regular member representing the five members of the Supreme Court. The Honorable Judge Toribio Ilaw Jr., regular member representing the private sector. The Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tiham, regular member representing the Academe. And the Honorable Judge Franklin J. de Monteverde, regular member representing the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Your Honors, the candidates for interview this morning are the following. Judge Mary Josephine P. Lazaro and Judge Emilio Rodolfo Y. Legaspi III. Both are applying for the position of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeals, the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan. May I request the candidates to please raise your right hand so that I can administer the oath? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this public panel interview by the Judicial and Bar Council?
Yes, I do.
So help you God. Thank you. Your Honors, the first for interview this morning is Judge Mary Josephine P. Lazaro. And the first to interview the candidate will be the Honorable Judge Franklin J. de Monteverde. Judge de Monteverde, sir.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Ed.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Judge Lazaro.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Yeah, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you, sir.
Okay. We interviewed you last year, am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I can't remember the date and the month, but when was it, if you can remember?
It was last October 24, 2019, sir.
2019?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, from your last interview, are there any changes in your credentials today?
Practically the same, Your Honor.
Practically the same. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, no? Considering that we have already interviewed you a few months back last year. Okay, you are still the presiding judge of the Regional Trial Court in Antipolo.
Yes, Your Honor.
How many RTCC court stations are there?
There are 14 regional trial courts.
Okay, you are the presiding judge of Branch 74.
Yes, Your Honor.
And how long have you been there, Judge Lazaro?
For 13 years, Your Honor.
13 years. And your caseload, how many?
As of last month, it's 2,700, Your Honor.
2,700.
Yes, Your Honor. As of November 2020.
Isn't that number quite high?
Your Honor, because Regional Trial Court of Antipolo City is handling cases from Cainta Rizal, Taytay Rizal, and the entire city of Antipolo, which is composed of 2 districts. So the caseload is really very high.
Okay. Now, prior to your appointment as a judge, an RTC judge, where were you connected?
I was then a state prosecutor at the Department of Justice, Your Honor.
How long?
6 years, Your Honor.
And before that?
I was a branch clerk of court in the Regional Trial Court of Pasig City.
Again, for how long?
For 6 years also, Your Honor.
So when did you pass the bar?
In 1994, Your Honor.
In totality, how many years have you been a lawyer?
26, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, can you give us your educational background briefly? Start from the elementary education.
All right, Your Honor. I graduated from Cainta Elementary School, which is a public school in Cainta, Rizal. And then I graduated from high school in Cainta Catholic College, also in Cainta, Rizal. And then I graduated from Centro Escolar University with a degree of Bachelor of Arts in Mass Communication.
Okay.
And then I took up law in San Beda, Your Honor.
Any master's degree?
None, Your Honor.
None. Now, there's a case, one case here, Judge Lazaro, wherein you were admonished. Can you tell us about this one? May I refer you to administrative matter number RTJ-14-2392. You were admonished for undue delay in resolving a motion to dismiss.
Can I refer to my...
Yes, yes. You may, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor, that is RTJ.
That's formerly OCA IPI number 12-3871-RTJ. There were several cases filed against you, but all were dismissed except for this one, wherein you were admonished.
3871, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'm sorry. The IPI number or OCA number is 3871, Your Honor.
Yes, yes. And that's now, when you were admonished, that was already under administrative matter numbered RTJ-14-2392. The second division's resolution was dated August 11,
Yes,
2000.
Your Honor.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is the case filed by Attorney Manuel Camacho.
Okay.
Yes. Your Honor,
Why did
actually
he file the
filed
case against you?
actually he filed many charges against me. Among others, the undue delay. All other charges were dismissed for lack
Yes.
of merit.
Mhm.
For the undue delay, it was my contention that since the reply was just recently filed, or the last pleading was just recently filed, so it was then that I considered the incident submitted for resolution.
Okay.
But that was not given credit or weight by the Office of the Court Administrator and later on by the Supreme.
Now, aside from the several cases, though dismissed, filed against you, there were also several TROs, status quo ante orders, and writs of preliminary injunctions which you issued. Can all in all about 23 cases. Briefly, what was the nature of the majority of these cases? Can you still remember?
Majority.
And I wouldn't expect you to remember those 23 cases. Cite only one case.
In one ejectment case, Your Honor, wherein the petitioners invoked fraud during the proceedings in the municipal trial court in cities in Antipolo. So the petitioners were a group of settlers. So after oral arguments, I sustained the contention of the petitioners and I enjoined the MPCC from implementing the writ of execution.
Okay. Now, on current events, Judge, toll fees were waived at the NLEX toll gates in Valenzuela City after Mayor Rex Gatchalian suspended the business permit of the company running the said expressway for failing to fix the radio frequency identification system that had caused heavy traffic along the highway. Was the action of the LGU a valid exercise of its power? Explain.
Yes, Your Honor, in the exercise of police power to promote public safety and public welfare, to avoid inconvenience to the motorists and to the public at large, Your Honor.
Anything more?
Being a franchise, the right it is not a right but a privilege. So it is subject to control by the government, Your Honor.
Okay, let's go to basics. Let's go basic. Let's go to constitutional supremacy doctrine. What is this all about?
Constitutional supremacy, Your Honor, is the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to exclude all other courts from acting in a matter brought before it, Your Honor. And that any decision rendered by the Supreme Court is binding upon the lower court.
How about the archipelagic doctrine?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm not familiar with that.
Hindi ka. Judicial power.
Judicial
What do you
power.
understand by judicial power?
Judicial power is the authority of the judicial branch of the government to fill in the gaps if there is an ambiguity in a law, and any ruling issued thereon shall be considered as part of the law of the land.
What court do you preside in, Judge? General one or
A regular court,
a regular court? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, can you remember what the doctrine of the chain of custody is?
The
Drugs.
chain of in drugs cases, that is capsulized in Section 21 of Republic Act 9165. That the apprehending or seizing officers must comply with the provisions or stringent requirements in the said provision of Republic Act 9165, such as the immediate inventory and photographing of the seized evidence in the presence of a representative from the Department of Justice or media and a representative from the local barangay, Your Honor. And then, upon seizure, the seizing officer shall transmit the evidence to the investigator, who will then make an investigation report, and then the seizing officer, after making the inventory, shall forward the seized evidence to the forensic chemist for laboratory examination. If there is non-compliance with Section 21, then such non-compliance shall be explained in the sworn statement or affidavit of the arresting or seizing officer.
Judge, what do you understand by the Apostille Convention?
Apostille Convention, Your Honor, is the authentication of documents by apostille contracting parties. So previously, it is required that the documents be consularized or authenticated before the consular office of a apostille contracting country. But with the treaty, the Apostille Convention, authentication is no longer required. It has only needed to be apostillized by the designated agency of the apostille contracting country, Your Honor.
What then are the several modes of service under the amended 1990, the amended Code of Civil Procedure?
Well, first, Your Honor, the personal service,
Okay.
the conventional mode,
Mhm.
via registered mail or ordinary mail, via accredited courier,
Okay.
via electronic mail, or facsimile with the consent of the parties in the last case, Your Honor.
What's the last one?
Facsimile transmission, Your Honor.
Aside from the facsimile transmission,
SMS, Your Honor.
this is where the apostille
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
uh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
take it. Okay. Now, under the amended Code of Civil Procedure, claims as asserted in a complaint to which an answer is filed. Now, under the amended procedure, can this be responded to by a reply?
If the answer attached an actionable document, then the plaintiff or the claimant may file a reply, Your Honor.
What if no document is attached to it?
Then, if there are affirmative defenses raised in the answer, which are non-litigious in nature, or, there are affirmative defenses which the court may resolve motu proprio, then the court will resolve the affirmative defenses motu proprio. Otherwise,
So-
a summary hearing, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay. You spoke of affirmative defenses. What is the period for the court to resolve these affirmative defenses?
30 days, Your Honor.
30 days. What is the effect if no reply has been filed, despite the fact that the answer had attached an actionable document?
Then the case, Your Honor, will be set for pre-trial conference.
That's it. Previous to the setting of the case for trial.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
It results in the admission of the genuineness and due execution of the actionable document.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Judge, how well do you cope with pressures?
Before the lockdown, Your Honor, I used to go to the mall, salon, and spa. But with the lockdown, I just stay at home. I watch TV. I have pets, dogs, and I love petting them, Your Honor.
Do you become insecure because of this pressure demanded of you?
No, Your Honor.
No. Do you not rely upon others when you are pressured?
As a human nature, Your Honor, I vent so that I have someone to talk to vent my problems. And after that, I deal them on my own.
So what kind of, first, define leadership?
Leadership, Your Honor, is the ability to lead and let your staff or your herd follow you to the right path.
So what kind of a leader are you?
A firm but kind leader, Your Honor.
And what is your relationship with your subordinates?
It's
How is
very
it?
harmonious. It's very harmonious, Your Honor.
In what way? Can you describe the picture that would be tantamount to being a harmonious relationship?
Without being self-serving, Your Honor, I believe that my staff respects me. And I do the same. I also respect them. That's the main ingredient, Your Honor, for a harmonious relationship.
So would you rather be respected or feared by your subordinates? And why?
Yes, Your Honor, because after respect follows fear, Your Honor.
So both. You
Yes,
wish to
Your
be
Honor.
respected by your subordinates, and you would want them also to fear you.
Well, it's up to them. It's up to them to fear me, Your Honor. But my main objective is for them to respect me.
to respect you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you subscribe to what we call leadership by example?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
As the saying goes, Your Honor, you walk the talk. Walk the talk. So if you want them to follow you, you have to set an example, Your Honor. And do for yourself what you want them to do.
Okay, Judge, that was my last question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for your time and good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Judge De Monteverde.
Thank you,
next,
Attorney Tally.
you're welcome, Judge. The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tiham.
Thank you, Attorney Tally. Good morning. Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Among the three appellate courts you're applying for, which is your preference?
Court of Appeals, Your Honor.
Court of Appeals. I was a little bit alarmed by the number of cases where you issued a TRO, WPI, or a status quo ante orders. What what are the grounds you consider before issuing this injunctive relief?
First off, to begin with, Your Honor.
Because you seem to be, I was alarmed, 23 cases. You are fast and furious in the issuance of TROs.
Well, to begin with, Your Honor, I am a presiding judge of Regional Trial Court for 13 years.
Okay.
So the number or total of TROs, WPIs, and status quo orders issued, which are reflected in my PBS, cover the entire 13-year period, Your Honor.
Do you issue a TRO because you want to maintain the status quo while you are studying the case? Is that the reason why you issue TRO? You're not
No,
yet sure how to decide the case?
no, Your Honor. After hearing the oral arguments, that was before the judicial affidavit hearing. So TROs were heard summarily through oral arguments of both parties. After hearing said oral arguments, if I appreciate or determine that the movant is entitled thereto, or that grave and irreparable damage would be caused before setting or hearing the merit of the case, I grant the TRO, Your Honor.
What about cases where you inhibited? What is the primordial reason why you voluntarily inhibit on a case? Is it because the parties requested that you inhibit?
No, Your Honor. Mostly, I voluntarily inhibited because of the administrative complaints filed against me.
Oh, I see. So when a party, when a litigant or a lawyer files an admin case against you, you inhibit so that the admin case will go away? Is that the reason?
No, Your Honor. The admin case will still stay in the OCA, Supreme Court through the OCA. But my reason for inhibiting, Your Honor, is to avoid any suspicion or to allay any imputation on the part of the erring litigant that I still handle the case despite the fact that he or she already filed an administrative complaint filed against.
But a litigant or a lawyer will move for your inhibition because he thinks that you are not fair, you are not competent to decide the case. So when you inhibit, do you suddenly become competent and fair in the eyes of the litigant? Do you think?
Uh, no, Your Honor. I think it's just to avoid an atmosphere of uh, animosity, for lack of a better term,
How,
Your Honor. For lack of a better term,
how do you
between
reconcile it? How do you reconcile it with the mandate that the judge should decide the case without fear or favor? Isn't it that if a litigant or a lawyer says, Judge, you're not competent enough to decide the case, you are not fair enough to decide the case, you are not impartial enough to decide the case. So when you inhibit, isn't it that you are surrendering to the wishes of the parties and therefore renege on your mandate to decide the case without fear or favor?
um, no, Your Honor, I'm just avoiding um, any an, uh, any suspicion from their part. Your
But when you agree to inhibit, you are implicitly admitting that they are right, isn't it?
I beg to disagree, Your Honor, because they might think that if I still continue to handle the case and I file an administrative complaint filed against me, I would be, as you said, Your Honor, not fair to them anymore.
Yeah, but when you inhibit, do you suddenly become fair in their eyes, in their mind, because you inhibited?
No,
Which
Your Honor,
eh, to the next question, if you are appointed to the appellate court, whether it be in the Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, or the Court of Tax Appeals, will your attitude will still be the same? That if somebody seeks for your inhibition, you would freely inhibit from the case?
um, uh, Your Honor, here in the RTC, I inhibit not because the party seeks my inhibition. I voluntarily inhibited because it is voluntary on my part that if an administrative complaint is filed against me, it is just prudent that I no longer handle the case.
Are
Now,
you
if
cowed?
appointed,
Are you cowed? Are you influenced by an administrative complaint? In other words, are you easily swayed into inhibiting just because the litigants file an administrative complaint against you?
no, Your Honor, I just want to put an end to the story, Your Honor.
But as a judge, you're supposed to assert your authority. You're supposed to assert your mandate, correct? You're supposed to decide the case without fear or favor. Is
Yes,
it important, is it important for a judge to make the litigants and the lawyers happy and not to offend their feelings? Is that important?
no, Your Honor.
And that's the reason why judges are not elected, correct? The judges are appointed. Because if judges are elected, they will be listening to what will satisfy the people who elect them. But judges are appointed, correct? You took an oath to decide cases without fear or favor. So I hope that if you are appointed to the appellate courts, you would not continue to have the same kind of attitude.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge, what is the doctrine of qualified political agency as far as you can remember? If you do not remember, can you make an educated guess?
Qualified political agency.
Political agency with respect to example, department secretaries. How do you apply the doctrine of qualified political agency? Can department secretaries act on their own, or do they have to consult the president on their decisions?
I think they have to consult the president, Your Honor.
Every time?
No, not every time, Your Honor.
So meaning to say they're not independent enough? For example, the Secretary of Justice, if a problem is confronts him in his department, he has to consult the president all the time about this problem before making a decision.
But if there is an issue or a public concern, Your Honor, so before the secretary acts on something, he has to consult the president. But as I follow your example, Your Honor, the doctrine of qualified political agency is like the department secretary can act on his own as if he is acting as an agent of the president
Why?
because he is an alter ego of the president, Your Honor.
That is the definition of qualified political agency. Are there exceptions to the rule?
If the secretary acted not in accordance with his official duty, or if he acted with
Like what?
inexcusable negligence,
Okay.
or he violates his official duty through malfeasance or misconception.
So it's not imputable to the president.
Yes, Your Honor.
So when you say alter ego, what is the meaning of that? A department secretary is an alter ego of the president under the doctrine of qualified political agency. What is the meaning of that? If he is the alter ego, anong ibig sabihin nun?
His actions are considered as if they are the actions of the president.
All right. Now, Secretary Guevara of the Department of Justice is a member of the Judicial and Bar Council. If Secretary Guevara votes for you to the appellate court, is that assumed to be the vote also of the president because he's an alter ego of the president and under the doctrine of qualified political agency?
No, Your Honor, because the act of the Secretary of Justice in exercising his right to vote as member of the Judicial and Bar Council is discretionary.
Discretionary. So you do not reply. When he votes for you, he is not acting as an alter ego of the president
Yes, Your Honor.
because his membership in the Judicial and Bar Council is what?
Ex officio, Your Honor.
Ex officio. Correct. So actions of heads of executive departments in the performance of their duties as ex officio members do not fall under the doctrine of qualified political agency. Judge, what is red tagging? What is red tagging?
Red tagging under the anti-terrorism law, Your Honor, is
Under
the anti-terrorism law, Your Honor.
is that the law?
Terrorism Act, Your Honor.
Are you sure it's in the law? Red tagging is in the law. Why,
Uh,
why is it that some members of Congress are asking that it should be defined as a crime? Is it already a crime under the anti-terror law?
no, Your Honor.
So can you explain to me your understanding of red tagging?
Red tagging, as I read on papers, Your Honor, and here on the news, is the designation of a certain person as having an association with the terrorist group.
When you say red, they're terrorists. Is that what you're saying? You
Or
graduated from San Beda.
Red Lion, Your Honor. Uh, not necessarily terrorist, Your Honor, but any act which
Communists.
tends,
Okay. Communists. Okay.
yes,
Is it a crime in your opinion? If
to be
somebody says, Judge, you are a communist sympathizer, Can you sue him? Is that a crime?
Under the revised penal code, Your Honor, that is libelous, Your Honor.
Libelous. Supposing it is true that you're a communist sympathizer, is it actionable?
Then in that case, no, Your Honor.
If the CPP NPA calls the military and the police as perpetrators of extrajudicial killing, is that also a crime?
It is libelous, Your Honor, under the revised
It's
penal
also libelous.
code, Your Honor.
Supposing it is true, is it also libelous?
No, Your Honor.
Is that not in the exercise of freedom of expression?
The freedom of expression has its limitation, Your Honor.
What are the limitations to freedom of expression? If I say something and it offends you, does it necessarily follow that what I said is actionable and you can sue me? And therefore, that is not a valid exercise of freedom of expression?
If it constitutes a crime under a statute, Your Honor, then it is an exception to the freedom of expression.
All right. You're also applying to the Court of Tax Appeals. Can you tell me the difference between a tax fraud? What is a tax fraud?
Tax fraud, Your Honor, is a way of tax evasion, which is unlawful.
Unlawful. What about, is it the same as a tax cheat? Is it the same?
I'm not familiar with tax sheet, Your Honor, but I will make a guess. Tax sheet may be a form of tax avoidance, Your Honor.
Okay. Enlighten me. What's the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance? Aside from the spelling, what is the difference?
Well, tax avoidance is a form of escape from taxation, which is allowed by law.
So
While
it's
tax evasion,
legal. It's legal. Tax avoidance is legal.
yes, Your Honor.
Tax evasion.
Tax evasion is illegal.
What's the difference between a tax deficiency and a tax delinquency?
A tax deficiency, Your Honor, is if there is a shortage in the payment of tax due, then there is a tax deficiency. While a tax, I'm sorry, Your Honor, what's the other one? A tax delinquency is non-payment of tax due within the period, Your Honor.
Yung deficiency, is there payment?
Yes, Your Honor, but there is only a shortage.
A shortage. So there's nothing illegal yet about a tax deficiency, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, what is the criteria in imposing Philippine income tax? Philippine income tax is imposed on whom?
On the compensation wage earners, Your Honor, and it is based on the ability to pay of the taxpayer.
Who are liable to pay Philippine income tax?
Those who are earning 250,000 up annually, Your Honor.
Filipinos are liable to pay Philippine income tax
Yes, Your Honor.
from income from all sources.
Yes, Your Honor.
What about citizens who are non-residents? Also from all sources. before you forgot your taxation.
A citizen who is not a resident of the Philippines, he may be taxed on in the country where he is earning the tax. But as a citizen, since he is enjoying the protection of the government, he may be taxed, Your Honor.
All right. My last question is, do you remember the tests in determining whether income is earned for tax purposes and therefore liable for tax?
If it is earned habitually, Your Honor, or regularly.
Habitually,
I
like
mean, regularly, sorry. I think the right word is regularly, not habitually.
what is the claim of right doctrine in taxation? Do you recall?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
The economic benefit test. What is it?
Economic benefit test, Your Honor. On the part of a taxpayer, if he is being benefited by reason of the income he is earning, then he is subject to taxation.
All right. Final question. What do you understand by original jurisdiction as distinguished from appellate jurisdiction?
The original jurisdiction is the power of the court to take cognizance of the case at the first instance, while appellate jurisdiction is the power of the court to take cognizance of a case in the exercise of its appellate jurisdiction.
What about exclusive jurisdiction from concurrent jurisdiction?
Exclusive jurisdiction is the power of the court to take cognizance of a case to the exclusion of all others, while concurrent jurisdiction is the power of the court to take cognizance of a case simultaneously, concurrently with co-equal courts.
All right. Thank you very much, Judge, for your time and good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Tiham. Next interviewer is Honorable Judge Toribio E. Ilao Jr.
Okay. Okay na, Tony Tali. Yes, good morning. Wow.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Mary Joseph de la Peña Lazaro. Lazaro. All right, Judge. You were previously interviewed for Court of Appeals. That was sometime in October 2000.
Yes, Your Honor.
That
Yes,
was
Your Honor.
the JBC considered 8 vacant positions for the Court of Appeals.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why were you were not shortlisted?
I was shortlisted, Your Honor.
You were shortlisted.
I'm waiting for the last 4 slots, sir.
I am still.
God willing, Your Honor. God willing, I will be considered as one of the 4.
There is still a remaining 4 slots.
Yes, sir.
And Malacanang had the difficulty of filling it up. See. And you mentioned that your caseload at present is 2,700. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were asked why it was too high, and you claim that you're handling how many salas from aside from Antipolo, where you have Cainta?
Cainta and Taytay Rizal, Your Honor.
And Rizal. So it's still Rizal.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think that your place needs additional regional trial court stations?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, Congressman Puno asked the executive judge 2 months ago to make a proposal so that Congressman Puno can submit the same to or pass a author a law, Your Honor.
This is despite the equitable distribution of salas in the Rizal, because then when I was still in practice, outside the Rizal, there are only Manila and Quezon City, and Pasig covered almost all of Rizal. So you claim that the reason why you have, but your sala Antipolo is not a single sala.
No, Your Honor.
What are the courts considered to be single sala in the somewhere in the Rizal?
In Cainta, Your Honor, there is one municipal trial court. In Taytay, there is also one municipal trial court. But regional trial court, it's covered by Antipolo.
And I really have to commend you because of your loyalty to Minjola. Imagine graduating from CEU, fronting Sambeda, still stuck to Sambeda, Minjola. Why?
Well, Your Honor, my father, who is an alumnus of San Beda College, undergrad, Your Honor, he was the one undergrad. Well, Your Honor, that time he took up AA law. He was planning to take up law, but then he got married. So instead, he pushed me to be the one, Your Honor.
Alright, can you tell me something about yourself that is not found in your application requirement?
I am single, Your Honor. I think that is not.
See,
It's in my PDS, but not in my application letter, Your Honor.
you're single.
Yes, Your Honor.
It came from you because that is my favorite question. And how is single blessedness quoting Saint Paul?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I did not get the question.
How is single blessedness?
Well, single blessedness, it's really a blessing, Your Honor. Because I have all the time to do what I want, whenever I want. And in a nutshell, I have more freedom, Your Honor, to focus on my career.
But you had relationships before, even at present.
None, Your Honor.
Why?
At present, none. Before, yes, Your Honor.
I mean, how many?
2, Your Honor.
Two.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So you are applying in all appellate courts, but based on your skill set, experience, and expertise, which court do you think you would best fit and contribute the most?
Court of Appeals, Your Honor.
And accordingly, you preferred Court of Appeals. Why? But you had been also a state prosecutor,
Yes, Your Honor.
aside from being a judge before
Yes, Your Honor.
Court of Appeals. Why do you say so?
Because of the nature of my work here in the Regional Trial Court, it can be easily applied in the Court of Appeals than in the Court of Tax Appeals and in the Sandigan Bayan. But I'm always open to development and improvement, Your Honor.
But have you ever thought of that you should have decided differently on a case?
No, Your Honor.
Why?
Because before I decide a case, I think many times over. I even pray hard and harder before I pen a decision.
You have been a judge for how many years? 15 years, Judge Lazaro? How many
13,
years?
Your Honor. 13,
Yes.
Your Honor.
What have you accomplished and what changes have you effected in your position so far?
Well, I have released many PPLs, Your Honor, with the advent of the plea bargaining framework.
Why your SAL is a drugs special court?
There's no special court in Antipolo, Your Honor. So every branch receives drugs cases. And a majority of the docket is drugs cases, Your Honor. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Antipolo has a very high docket because of drugs cases.
Based on experience, where did illegal drugs came from?
Um, I really cannot pinpoint, Your Honor.
Why? You're afraid?
No, Your Honor. I can only make a second guess.
Please guess.
From a syndicate, probably, Your Honor.
From what place? Syndicate from what place?
The entire Rizal, Your Honor.
Why do you say so? There are open seas in Rizal? Or coming from other places?
Actually, Your Honor, when I was a state prosecutor, I handled a shabu laboratory in Barangay Mambugan, Antipolo City.
Barangay
Mambugan, Antipolo City.
Nagbugan.
Yes. I was the prosecutor assigned in that case before Branch 73, then presided by now Justice Ronaldo Martin.
Presided by whom?
Justice Martin of the Court of Appeals, Your Honor.
And what happened to that case?
When I was appointed as a judge, Your Honor, the case was still ongoing. So it was inherited by another state prosecutor. And I heard there was a conviction and it reached the appellate court. Before Justice Martin was promoted, he already finished the case, Your Honor.
By the way, Judge, why do you deserve a promotion?
As a career path, Your Honor, I've been a judge for 13 years, so I feel that it's about time to go higher, Your Honor.
And what do you consider your greatest accomplishment as a trial judge?
Rendering justice and giving everyone his due, Your Honor.
And what do you consider the toughest challenge as a trial judge?
The setting of cases, Your Honor, because of the many high docket, we can only do so much. Although we understand the plight of the accused and other litigants, especially those who are detained, but the calendar of the court can only accommodate so much. In fact, on a daily basis, for Monday and Friday,
And as a judge, what have you been doing to contribute? Sorry. Please continue.
And as I was saying, Your Honor, when we set criminal cases on Monday and Tuesday, the average is 60 to 70 for one day, Your Honor, alone.
You don't have to set that at so many. You have to be realistic. But you have to accommodate at least half. Because by calling all of the cases, it took time.
What we do, Your Honor, is we have staff outside checking the calendar and listing the cases which are ready, Your Honor. So only the cases which are ready with present witnesses will be called inside, Your Honor.
And what time
All the others will be reset. I'm sorry,
No.
Your Honor.
What time do you start your session? As early as 8 o'clock? 7
No,
o'clock?
Your Honor. No, Your Honor. 8:30 to 9, Your Honor.
So by that, I think the time consuming of calling the cases, considering the voluminous cases in your calendar.
No, Your Honor. Only the ready cases are called, Your Honor. All the others which are not ready will be reset without calling them. We just inform the litigants, Your Honor.
And as a judge, what have you been doing to contribute to nation building?
I try my best, Your Honor, to dispense and administer justice fairly and see to it that all the litigants are accommodated and given their day in court, Your Honor.
But in your 13 years of experience as an RT judge, there were 12 cases filed against you. In 2010, 2013, and 2014, you were warned by the Supreme Court to be more circumspect of your duties, reminded to file an extension should you fail to decide cases within the reglementary period, and meted with admonition for a less serious offense of undue delay, respectively. Despite this, do you still think that you are worthy of a promotion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why do you say so?
It's a case-to-case basis, Your Honor, considering the voluminous docket of this court and my length of service in the judiciary, 13 years as a judge. I really cannot avoid airing litigants to file a case against in that span of time, Your Honor.
Arat, in your PDS, you mentioned that you inhibited in the case of National versus Judge Cruz Rojo. Still remember that? Do you recall this case? On the ground of partiality and prejudgment. Could you tell us what is this case all about?
Your Honor, may I refer to my PDS?
Yes, sir.
This case, Your Honor, Melania National and Rowena National is an ejectment case, Your Honor.
Why
So
against Judge Cruz Rojo?
she was then the presiding judge of the Municipal Trial Court in Cities, Branch 3.
And then,
So the title of the case, when it was appealed to the RTC, no, this was not appealed, this was via a petition for certiorari. So Judge Rojo was impeded as a public respondent, Your Honor.
and why did you inhibit in this case?
I think there was a motion filed, Your Honor.
Alleging what?
Bias and partiality, Your Honor.
All right, you're also applying as an associate in the position of Associate Justice of the Court of Tax Appeals.
Yes, Your Honor.
What are the principles of a sound tax system?
The sound tax system is in taxation, the imposition of a tax which is fair and reasonable to all subjects of taxation.
That's only one principle.
It should be equitable and should emanate from the legislative branch of the government or maybe delegated to the local government unit. Should be based on the ability to pay on the part of the taxpayer. Should be progressive, meaning as the bracket increases, the rate increases.
All right. When does the doctrine of piercing the corporate veil apply?
Well, it applies, Your Honor, when there is a clear intent to defraud or to shield the unlawful act of a corporation. One corporation in favor of another corporation, Your Honor.
All right, let's go to labor laws. When is there a labor only contracting?
Your Honor, there is a labor-only contracting when there is no employer-employee relationship and the contractor is hired only to perform a specific task.
And where does the employer-employee relationship set in as between whom?
Well, when there is an intention to engage the services of a contractor on a habitual or permanent basis, Your Honor.
And how do you differentiate the piercing of the veneer of technicality to the piercing of the corporate veil?
Sorry, Your Honor, I'm not familiar with the piercing of veneer technicality.
All right, my last question, Judge. Already tired? You look hot.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's common. All right, last question, Judge. Describe a successful day you had recently.
Successful day. Well, to be candid, Your Honor, before this interview, I prepared. So after reading so much materials and finishing those materials, I felt successful, Your Honor.
All right, that was my last and final question, Judge. Thank you, and good luck, Animo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Animo.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Honorable Judge Ilaw. Next interviewer is Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Your Honor.
How are you during this pandemic? I did not recognize you today. What happened to your hair or something?
I had it banned, Your Honor. It's
Anyway.
very long because I wasn't able to visit the salon for the past month since March, Your Honor. I'm afraid to have my hair cut.
Same with us. You have been interviewed in the past and you are still a nominee. No, but you still applied. You are a nominee now for the Court of Appeals.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you added Court of Tax Appeals and Sandigan Bayan, or you also were nominated? No, I don't think so. No.
No, Your Honor.
You just added the Court of Tax Appeals and Sandigan Bayan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Anyway, I will be very brief. I think I will not cover questions regarding the Court of Appeals. We have extensively asked you on that. We go to the Court of Tax Appeals. Uh, uh, Judge, what is the appellate jurisdiction of the Court of Tax Appeals?
Um, in cases, Your Honor, decided by the regional trial court in tax assessment
Yes.
or
What
tax
else?
dispute, Your Honor.
Yes. That's one. There
In
are there are 7.
in decisions or rulings rendered or issued by the Commissioner of Internal Revenue in
Yes.
cases involving the National Internal Revenue Code,
Yes.
in decisions or rulings rendered or issued by the Bureau, by the Customs, Your Honor, Commissioner of Customs,
Yes.
in cases covered by Tariff and Customs Code. In cases or in decisions or orders rendered and issued by the Central Board of Assessment Appeals,
Okay. Central Board of Assessment. What else?
by the Secretary of Finance, Your Honor, decision rendered by the Secretary, rulings issued by the Secretary of Finance, by the Secretary of Agriculture, and by the Department of Trade, Your Honor.
Secretary of Trade and Industry.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you are all correct. You are correct. You're just missing one. What is it? Anyway, you got at least 6. You missed inaction by the Commissioner of Internal Revenue. Now you remember?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Regarding inaction, what are the requisites? When is it ripe for a taxpayer to file case before the CTA for inaction?
Upon expiration of the period
Yes.
within which the Commissioner should have rendered or issued a decision or ruling on a disputed assessment.
Okay.
Then the taxpayer should elevate now the matter to the Court of Tax Appeals.
Okay. What is the within what period should you file? What is the period? Because you mentioned that after a certain time.
6 months.
Mm.
What 6 months, Your Honor, or 180 days?
180-day period, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mm. Is there any prescription because there has been an inaction by the CIR within 180 days? Is there a prescription? I mean to say a limitation of the period when you can file a petition because of the inaction.
Failure to file a petition before the Court of Tax Appeals shall be deemed as an abandonment, Your Honor.
Yes, within
the
what period? Within what
Two-
period?
2 years, Your Honor.
Diba after 180 days?
180 days.
Yes. Oh. Now from the what is a jeopardy assessment?
A jeopardy assessment, Your Honor, is when a taxpayer is about to close his business or about to depart from the country or to conceal his property, the commissioner may assess him for taxation, Your Honor.
Okay, it is based on what? Usually, it's called jeopardy assessment when it is based on incomplete audit and you just make a estimate. Okay. What is an LOA?
An LOA is
Yes.
a letter of authority. Your Honor.
Yes, yes. Okay. How do you differentiate it from a letter of notice?
A letter of authority, Your Honor, is as it stands, is an authority to issue a letter to a taxpayer assessing him of a tax liability, where a letter of notice is part of the letter of authority. Your Honor.
Sometimes it is not part. Now, there are in Medicard, Philippines versus CIR, the court made three bases for distinction. What are those three?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm not familiar with the case.
Anyway, your best guess because you know what is an LOA, you know what is an LN, or letter of notice, LAN, what you call is LAN. Then you know what is LOA. So can you give me at least two or three differences between the two?
A letter of notice is in writing, made by an officer of the Internal Revenue, while a letter of authority is also formal or in writing, issued by the Commissioner of Internal Revenue.
Yeah, what is the difference?
The authority from which the LOA and the LAN emanate, Your Honor.
Yes, they both come from they are both issued by the revenue officer. So what is really the difference?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
How about the validity of an LOA and the validity of letter of notice? What is with respect to validity?
As to validity, Your Honor, a letter of authority is valid if
For how many days?
30 days, Your Honor.
30 days, the validity of an LOA. How about a LAN, a letter of notice?
45 days, Your Honor.
Okay. Sige, okay lang. No limitation.
Sorry.
Okay. What is the period within which an a revenue officer can conduct an examination of the taxpayer? With respect to LOA, what is the period, and also with respect to LAN?
So a revenue officer, Your Honor, can conduct an examination with respect to LOA within a period of 30 days.
30, and the
Days, Your
LAN?
Honor. 180 days, Your Honor.
180 days.
I'm just
Anyway,
guessing.
yes, and I know. You told me you I said kanina earlier that you make a good guess or your best guess. Land does not have such a limitation. But when you have a LOA, the revenue officer has 120 days from receipt of the LOA in which to conduct his examination. How about recognition under the National Internal Revenue Code?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I failed to get the word.
The LOA, the basis in the National Internal Revenue Code.
Well, the basis of the LOA, Your Honor, is the income earned, Your Honor, by the taxpayer.
Anyway, you have not read Medicard versus CIR.
No, I'm
LOA
sorry, Your
can be
Honor.
found in the NIRC. Your excuse, and land is not found there. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the revenue officer is was issued a LOA, but he was not able to finish the audit or examination of the books of the taxpayer. Now, a new revenue officer was assigned. Can he continue conducting the examination on the basis of the LOA?
I think no, Your Honor, because the LOA is specific to the first officer, Your Honor. I mean, it only pertains to him.
His successor cannot cheat or claim it as a basis.
No, Your Honor.
Now, in the ombudsman, there's been a ruling by the Supreme Court in Crebello, written by Chief Justice Persamin, that the ombudsman cannot apply motu proprio, the condemnation doctrine, if it was not raised by the respondent. Okay. How about in the Court of Tax Appeals? Can the lack of authority be applied by the CTA motu proprio without the taxpayer invoking it?
I think so, Your Honor, because it boils down to the jurisdiction of the commissioner acting through the revenue officer, Your Honor. So the CTA can take cognizance of the issue.
Of
Lack
such defense.
Yes, yes,
Because
Your
in the ombudsman case, Crebello case, the Supreme Court said that the court cannot motu proprio apply it because it was not raised as a defense by the respondent. Now, in this case, in this situation, the issue is the lack of letter of authority was not questioned by the taxpayer. He never raised it as an issue. Now, can the CTA motu proprio take cognizance of it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay. That is the ruling in Misamis Oriental versus CIR. Okay, in the Court of Appeals has original exclusive jurisdiction over what cases? Oh,
Exclusive original jurisdiction
yes.
in reviewing the actions of quasi-judicial agencies and um, exercising quasi-judicial function
It is
and in
original jurisdiction. I'm not saying appellate.
I'm sorry, exclusive original jurisdiction.
Yes.
Annulment of judgment, Your Honor.
Yes. Oh, that is under rule what? Oh. Anyway, it's rule 47. What are the
47.
grounds? What are the grounds?
For annulment of judgment, Your Honor,
Yes.
discovered evidence,
Annulment
which
of judgment. Oh,
yes,
what
Your Honor.
else? There are two. The first one you gave is not correct.
Sorry.
No, okay lang.
Lack of jurisdiction, Your Honor.
Yes, very good. What else?
Error in judgment, Your Honor.
No, extrinsic fraud.
Extrinsic fraud, I'm sorry.
Extrinsic fraud, because you cannot raise the issue of error in judgment in an annulment case. Now, the CTA decision of the CTA division became final and executory, but the party discovered that extrinsic fraud was committed. Can the taxpayer question it before the CTA and bank through a petition for annulment of judgment?
CTA, Your Honor.
Yes, CTA. It's already, the CTA division's decision is already final and executory. Can he file, because in the Court of Appeal, in case of RTC decision, a party, even if it becomes final and executory, a party can file a Rule 47 petition for annulment. Now, the internal rules of the CTA says that the rules of court can be applied suppletorily. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, in the CTA, can you use it? Can you avail of it after the decision of a CTA division has become final? Can you use it before the CTA and bank?
No, Your Honor.
On what ground?
My answer is no, Your Honor.
Yes. What is the reason?
Because under the internal rules of the Court of Tax Appeals, what can be availed of is a motion for new trial.
Motion for new trial.
Yes, Your Honor.
You cannot avail of the petition for annulment of judgment before the CTA. You filed the motion for new trial before the CTA division, correct?
Division. Yes, Your
The
Honor.
same court of origin in that appellate court. Now, in the RTC, you cannot file it before the same court. So you file it before the CA, Court of Appeals. So in the Court of Appeal, in the CTA organization, you can only do it before the CTA and bank. Can you file a petition for annulment of judgment, citing the rules in the internal rules that it can be applied suppletorily? Can a taxpayer file an annulment of judgment before the CTA and bank?
The remedy available, Your Honor, is a petition for review before the court and bank in the Court of
Now,
Tax
a
Appeals.
petition for review, you are correct, but it is for where the decision is not yet final. You can file a petition for review. But I said It is final. So
Yes, Your Honor.
an extrinsic fraud was committed. What is the remedy then of the taxpayer if, as you earlier mentioned, is not allowed to file a petition for annulment of judgment?
Well, Your Honor, if the Court of Tax Appeals and Bank is not vested with authority or power to entertain an action for annulment of judgment, then considering that it is only the Court of Appeals which has that jurisdiction, exclusive original jurisdiction, then the taxpayer can go or seek solace to the Court of Appeals, Your Honor.
You mean to say the Court of Appeals can annul a decision of a CTA division, a final and executory decision of a CTA division?
That was my first impression, Your Honor, but it seems like it's not correct.
It's not correct.
Yes, Your Honor. So,
what is your answer now?
well, Your Honor,
If there is extrinsic fraud, what is the remedy
yes, Your
of
Honor.
the taxpayer?
All right, Your Honor, the internal rules of the Court of Tax Appeals provide that the rules of court may be applied suppletorily.
So
if under the rules of court, there is an action for annulment of judgment on ground of extrinsic fraud or lack of jurisdiction, then by suppletory application, the decision rendered by a division of the Court of Tax Appeals, which is attended by extrinsic fraud, may be brought to the Court of Tax Appeals and Bank via petition for annulment of judgment.
okay. Well, unfortunately, the Supreme Court decided otherwise. A Commissioner of Internal Revenue versus KEPCO Ilihan, the court ruled that it cannot be applied to the CTA and bank. Okay, your best guess, what is the reason?
Because there is no rule applicable, Your Honor. And that a decision of a division cannot be struck down by the end bank of the Court of Tax.
A final decision, you mean?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
A final.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that was the decision of the Supreme Court said that the issue is you go to the basic. Jurisdiction is conferred by law. That remedy or jurisdiction over annulment has been conferred by law. Rule 129 in the Court of Appeals. And there is no such provision regarding the CTA. Okay? So lack of jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is conferred by law and not even by the rules of court. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh. Let's go to pero natanong na kita dito sa Court of Appeals. Siguro okay, what is the difference between conclusiveness of judgment and res judicata?
Conclusiveness of judgment, Your Honor,
Yeah.
may involve different parties, while in res judicata involves same causes of action and same parties, Your Honor. That has been previously litigated.
Okay.
before a court of competent jurisdiction, Your Honor.
The effect of a final judgment is res judicata. The conclusiveness of judgment is only one aspect of res judicata. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is the other aspect? There are two aspects of res judicata. What is the other aspect?
Study diseases, Your Honor.
No, that's about precedent. Anyway, the other first aspect is bar by prior judgment, and the second aspect is conclusiveness of judgment. Okay. Anyway, you may be tired. Yan na lang muna. Judge Lazaro,
Thank you, Your
good
Honor.
luck. You may be tired. Pero nung kami, 4 na oras kami. So, kaya mo 3 hours pa. Sige, your excuse. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Mendoza, and thank you, Judge Lazaro. Good luck.
Thank you, Attorney. Thank you. So I can now leave the meeting, Attorney.
Your excuse,
Judge.
Judge. Your excuse.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honors, the next candidate to be interviewed is Judge Emilio Rodolfo Y. Legaspi III, presiding judge of the Regional Trial Court, Branch 13, Manila. He is an applicant for the Court of Appeals, the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Sandigan Bayan.
Good morning. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Judge Legaspi.
Yes,
Yes, we can hear you, sir. First to interview the applicant is Honorable Judge Franklin J. De Monteverde.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Tali. Good morning, Judge Legaspi.
Good morning, Honorable Monteverde.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm okay po.
Okay. You are from Antique, no?
Yes po.
Your father was the late Judge Emilio dito sa Bacolod na assign.
Yes po.
Okay. In the 80s.
Yes po.
1980s, yeah. Okay. Now you are applying for the 3 appellate courts.
Yes.
And among the 3, which would you prefer?
Court of Appeals po and the Sandigan Bayan.
And Sandigan Bayan. The last is the CTA. Okay. Now, I remember correctly that we had already interviewed you last year.
Yes.
Was it also sometime in October of last year?
I cannot remember the exact date, but that's around.
Yeah. Okay. I remember you because of your father. I appeared before his court before. Okay. Now, since your last interview, has there been any change in your credentials?
None po. I have. I still the same. I'm still holding the same court.
Okay.
Presiding over the same court.
Mm-hmm. So you are the presiding judge of RTC Branch 13 in Manila?
Yes, sir.
And for how long have you been there?
Since 2011, as a designated drugs court.
So that would be 9 years.
9 years more or less.
But with the judiciary, for how long have you been with it?
Since September of 2006.
That would be 14 years ago. 14 years all in all.
Yes, sir.
And when did you graduate? College of Law?
1993, sir.
93, and immediately you took the bar.
Yes, sir.
And When did you pass it, and when were you admitted to the practice of law?
I took the bar in 1994 and passed it in 1995.
95. Prior to your appointment as the MTC judge in Antique, what was your work then?
I had a law practice also, and then previously I joined a law firm also, and I did some business at the side.
So you practiced law in Antique also?
After my father died, no, I proceeded to Antique and tried my law practice there also.
Okay, okay. I have noticed that you had a high grade score sa bar exams. Am I correct?
I don't know if it's high. It's I just remember it's 84.5.
Yeah, that's high compared to the others who are merely on the 70s, on the sevens. Any master's degree, Judge?
I had no opportunity to decide to take a master's course, especially when during my RTC days, it's always heavy workload because I'm a designated drugs court in Manila.
Okay. You're still teaching law.
Yes, sir.
In what schools?
Reliano Law School since 2015. Only one subject, but two sections every Thursday. Special proceed statutory construction.
I have also noted that you took the pre-judicature program and passed it again with a high degree, a high grade.
I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
that's 88,
yes.
88%. That's quite high. Okay, medically you're certified to be physically and mentally medically fit. No, but on the ECG, there's a finding here that which shows that you have intraventricular conduction delay slash non-specific T-wave change. What is this?
I don't know.
You're not aware of this kind of
I showed it to my cousin doctors and my sister. Doctor, they told me there's nothing to worry about
Okay.
because I'm within the. I exercise almost every day.
Okay, Judge. Now let's go to your Salen. In your 2019 Salen, you included a footnote referring to your cash time deposit and investment stocks amounting to more than 7 million. Can you elucidate on this? 2019.
I think those are the stocks po stocks. Those are the investments all throughout the years. No? Like
Not in terms of premiums paid, but in terms of the amounts of the investment that you had.
Those are
Is
just
that it? Is that it?
those are just stock holdings in various hospitals and
Okay, okay.
and Makati and what you call these clubs, the sports
Mhm.
club.
Kindly explain also the significant increase in your SALN from an average of 2 million to 3 million each year starting from the year 2012.
2012. Oh, uh,
From 2012 upwards.
we have of course my salary, no, and my wife is also a contractor,
Mhm.
interior designer, and she has her own business which as a independent professional, no? we also have a little land holdings in Antique, which give me some dividends. In my when my mom was alive, she would give us shares by December, but she died last year, so we still have to extrajudicially settle, no? Or
So you include the income derived from her business of your wife's income, general income,
yes, sir.
your income. But there are instances where the SALN was not signed by your wife.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain?
There were some SALN that before it was not so strict, no? That we have to require our wives to sign. Somewhere in 2016-17, we had I separated in fact from my wife, and she even refused. No, she's always to sign. No, this LN being a private individual. No? But from then until 2020, 2019, she started when we tried to reconcile. No? But in 2020, she outrightly refused. Uh, but she stated that all the real properties there are okay, no? And accurate. It's in my 2020 SALN that I did not include the various deposits that she's holding together with her three aunties. And that's why there's a significant decrease in our cash position. And also, I was advised by the JBC last year, no? Not to include, because if you check in the family code, this could be considered paraphernal deposits.
So you are no longer living separately from her. In
Uh,
fact,
this 2020, we separately live apart. Especially during this pandemic, they stay in the province because of.
but the differences between you have already been settled. If
Uh,
ever there was any.
no. We still live apart. No? We're separated, in fact, right now.
For how many years?
Uh, 2016-17 we separated, no? But
Until now, Judge.
we got together in between, no? But in 2020 we live apart already.
But there's no more problem insofar as signing the SALN is concerned by her.
She now refused to sign the SALN because.
And have you filed an explanation about this?
Yes, I placed an explanation in the SALN.
Okay. Judge, many other applicants are more senior than you, with 20 years of experience as lower court judges, while you have been with the judiciary for only 14 years. Is the seniority an advantage in nominating or shortlisting judges?
Yes, sir.
Over those with lesser experience, like you?
With my heavy caseload, I think, and everyday trials, I think I could make up for the less senior part of me, especially in Manila when we're handling a lot of cases, no, as a drugs court. No? Though I recognize that senior judges have an advantage also.
Okay. Drugs court judge sa Manila, no?
Yes, po.
What is your caseload now?
Caseload right now is around nearing 500 already. We are being hit by this video conference hearings, which
Okay.
really make us delay, no, result to delays, no. Especially when these other stakeholders, no, have poor internet,
Hmm.
but we have to comply with the minimum standard set by the Supreme Court on health. We also have to protect our our employees. You know. But no no complaints. No? We just
Okay.
do whatever we can.
But
Under
okay, sige, continue, Judge.
yes, sir. Uh, we are longing to go back to a regular trial, but it's really hard considering that the high incidence of infections, as we were told, in the jails, and 99% of my accused are in the detention facilities.
But Judge, with this pandemic, how do you intend to reduce the caseload?
So as much as we can, no? We can increase possible plea bargaining. We push through with plea bargaining, no?
Okay.
And
But up to a certain limit lang ang plea bargaining sa drugs.
yes, we are aware that eventually we are going to go into in court hearings, no? Especially, but we allow in court hearings, especially on bail petitions, no? Which is
Mhm.
very hard to conduct remotely kasi wala pa yung mga, there's no documents yet. The policemen who are also 90% are policemen witnesses, no? They're also infected. But we devise ways inside our courtroom. We place exhaust fans. We open the doors. We have our minimum mask and everything. It's so hard, but no complaints. No, we have
Okay.
we have to do our duty. And
Like, let's go to current events, Judge. An impeachment complaint was endorsed by a lawmaker against Supreme Court Associate Justice Marvick Leonen before the House of Representatives. Can you tell us how an impeachment works? Is this a political exercise? Your thoughts on this?
it's a political exercise in the terms that it's Congress, no, and who's going to decide, and it's going to be decided by numbers. No? But it must be also based on impeachable offenses, as it
Such
was
as?
delineated by the Constitution, like loss of trust, public trust, and high crimes, and etc. No? So it's a form of check and balance uh, on the part uh, in our democratic system. Eventually, it's if there's probable cause to bring these cases for trial, it would be passed to the Senate as a court trial court, no, like what
Mhm.
happened during the
Okay.
time of Justice Corona.
Now, as a person judge, I need to know what kind of personality you have. Are you critical of others? Are you domineering? Are you arrogant or what?
I'm a in my court, no, I'm a stickler for rules, especially the rules of court, no, and uh, I have a good rapport with my employees. I also understand them, no,
Mhm.
except if you do something that is against the law, no, or against the ethics. So I made it clear to them, no, that we are okay in the office unless and until that you violate the circulars and the ethics. As to my colleagues, I get well with my colleagues, though lately we do not meet each other anymore because of this pandemic. No? So virtual meeting. I have my own uh, circle of friends, especially
Okay.
here in Manila.
But you are an argumentative person, Judge.
I'm not an argumentative person.
Not an. How about if someone criticize you, especially destructive ones?
Okay.
How do you react to it?
My record would speak for myself. No? As long as it's not a personal attack on me and my family.
Mhm.
Especially when you're a judge, you prefer not to go into arguments like lawyers and everything with the social media. No, they just post
Yeah.
it and you'll be bashed. No, it's I always think that the judiciary should be restrained.
Okay.
Should be uh, not a sira ulo or 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 mainitin yung ulo.
Okay. So let's go basic for the meantime, Judge. No, while you are presiding over a drugs court, but let's go to other areas because you are applying for the 3 appellate courts in any of them. So kindly, what do you understand by the archipelagic doctrine?
That all waters must be and territories must be
Only waters?
and lands no within the territory of the Philippines must belong to the state.
Mhm.
Okay?
All waters surrounding or connecting different islands, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to the doctrine of effective occupation. Does discovery alone enough to vest a title on the discoverer?
I always believe that after you discover certain territory, you must impose effective government, no? And
Uh-huh.
you must populate it and have an administrative body to administer, no? To govern, no?
Mhm.
Just mere planting the flag is not enough, no? To claim. No?
Now,
Uh,
for title to finally vest, what must be done? What must be followed in order to have effective occupation?
uh, yeah, there must be a real occupation and a functioning government. No?
Within what time?
Uh, I cannot, frankly, I cannot say how much, but it must how period of time on that. No?
Within a reasonable time.
Full time, but it must be
Uh,
effective. No, it's not just mere
yes. There must be an actual occupation.
actual occupation.
Now, how about this Talweg doctrine?
I'm,
Are you familiar with this?
I'm sorry, sir.
Talweg. Okay. Kindly research na lang dyan.
Opo.
Okay, what is this judicial review? Kindly expound.
The power of judicial review, no, under the Constitution is to check, no, other branches of government for abuse or if they on instrumentality of government, no, for abuse or if they acted beyond their jurisdiction.
It's not only on the lower courts, but the power of the Supreme Court to declare a law, treaty, ordinance, and other governmental act unconstitutional. Now, there are 3 requisites. What are those?
Uh, First, there must be an actual controversy,
Yes, 1.
and the parties must be the proper parties to bring
Okay,
the matter
2.
to Supreme Court, and then
There are 4 pala. 2 more.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, sige. Review na lang, Judge.
Sige po, sige po.
Itong doctrine of purposeful hesitation. Alam mo ito?
Uh,
Hindi rin.
Sorry.
Itong the exclusionary doctrine, kung ito, sa drugs court ito.
On evidence po.
Oh, yeah.
The evidence that were obtained in violation of the poisonous tree doctrine.
Fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine.
Poisonous tree doctrine should be excluded from any proceeding, whether in judicial, quasi-judicial, legislative inquiry, or in the courts. Total exclusion. Exclusion.
What about the facial challenge? Familiar with it, Judge?
Facial challenge.
Sige, kindly go over it na lang. Review na lang.
Probable cause.
Oh, ito easy ito masyado. Stewardship doctrine.
I studied the wrong.
You are applying for any of the three appellate courts. Oh, so you must be prepared to. Anyway, just review this different. I know you know them, but considering the length of time that you have been with the drugs court, you must have forgotten these kinds of doctrines, no?
But if reminded, I could expound on them. I'm sorry po.
Sige, Judge, ganito. Define leadership.
Leadership is a leader, no? Must know how to lead the subordinates, but also must learn how to empathize with them, no? Especially with the recent pandemic, no? As much as we want to lead by example, okay? Like going to the office, even though it's a 4-day work week, we have to be there every day, no? Second, we should not be criticizing any delays, because we have to understand everything. No one has predicted that this would be happening this year. Yeah. But we have to do this part, our part. As a matter of fact, what is happening right now, the judiciary has continuously evolved, and has evolved fast. No one has predicted that we would be conducting a JBC online interviews from the confines of our spaces. No?
Yeah.
But life goes on. No? We still have to function as a government, no? And we are doing our part from the judicial point of view.
So you're a leader by example, I presume.
Yes, sir.
And how is your relationship with your subordinate, with your staff members?
No, I'm okay with my staff, no, except for one, no, that I'm in the process of filing a administrative complaint because of integrity issues, no?
Okay.
Which was aggravated by the recent pandemic. But we are following the law to the books. We're following our procedure. No? We cannot just get her out of our system. We have certain rules to follow.
Earlier, you mentioned that you empathize with your staff and other people, no? So, supposing that you see some of your subordinates to be struggling in order for them to stay motivated, what do you do normally to boost or encourage them?
Oh, we usually, no, we with my clerk of court, and we usually talk to our subordinates. No? We do not. We have to know, no, their problems, especially in this transportation. You go into the office, the minimum health standards that we have to follow. Everything can be discussed, no, with them, except if there's a outward illegal or unethical practice, no, that would happen. No? In that case, we have to follow the proceedings, the procedure on these matters. But
A
so
review of your records, Judge, shows that you have an impressive credentials. But aside from these credentials, kindly give me good reasons why I should include you in my shortlist.
um, I'm a hardworking person. I know that. But, I also have the capacity to study, new things. I do not complain well. I do not complain well. I do not easily complain. No? As a matter of fact, there are a lot of complaints on different circulars during the pandemic. But we have to adjust. No? We know that the Supreme Court is doing everything, no, to dispose of cases and to make things normal. No? We have to my capacity, no, to adjust and to take things in a stride, no? And I do not break easily under pressure from work, and my willingness to learn new things in the judiciary. Uh, Sana ma-convince ko kayo to vote for me.
Sige, Judge. Sige, Judge. That was my last question. No?
Thank you po.
Thank you for your time likewise, and good luck.
Be safe po. Thank you.
Okay. Stay safe. Sige. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Attorney
Honorable
Tally,
Judge
thank you.
Dumonte. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Noel Jimenez Tiham.
Good
Thank
morning.
you.
Morning,
Thank you,
Justice.
Attorney Tally. Morning, Judge.
Morning, Justice.
Were you shortlisted the last time?
No po. Unfortunately, I was not shortlisted. It's okay lang po.
I was listening to your answer when you were asked about impeachment. Why do you say it's a political process? Because it is determined by numbers? What do you mean exactly by that?
In a sense, no, it's a we need the numbers to bring the impeachment case to the Senate for trial. No? Otherwise, without the necessary votes, it would you just stay there in the lower house. No? That's why I call it a political exercise. However,
But is not Congress bound to investigate the complaint for impeachment in accordance with the evidence and in
yes, sir.
accordance with the law and the Constitution?
Yes, sir. It's bound to investigate, especially the charges. No?
And even assuming that the lower house, after investigation, transmits the articles of impeachment to the Senate, the Senate, acting as an impeachment court, they take an oath before they proceed to trial, and they're supposed to evaluate the evidence as well. So it's really in accordance with the evidence and with the Constitution, because the impeachment court will be presided by whom?
By the Chief Justice. Po.
Yes, the Chief Justice is there, so it cannot be something that can be adjudicated through sheer numbers. Um, what is the significance of a SAL-N, Judge?
Isal is to show, no, that we are to show our net worth, no, and our liability, and to show integrity, no, as showing the Sereno case, no. goes into the integrity of an applicant in the, especially if you're an applicant in the Judicial and Bar Council. It also would, as a tool for government to look at your assets, no? Especially if there are suspicious, especially for drugs court also, no? and other, and if there's a big increase or in your net worth, or if you're living beyond your means, there is a SALN to start with. No? This is also a to prevent. I see it justice, no, to prevent people like in the judiciary, no, to acquire uh, ill-gotten wealth, no, because you have to declare it in your SALN.
Do you think this constitutional requirement, it's a requirement in the Constitution? It's the requirement under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Law, the filing of a SALN. Do you think it's frivolous?
No, no, sir. I don't think it's frivolous. No. Uh, we have to. It's required by the Constitution in the first place, and second, it's a tool, no, for government to look at our assets, no, if we have acquired ill-gotten
But
wealth.
public officers are being paid from public funds, correct?
Yes, sir.
So there is a
Yes,
certain degree of accountability. Is the non-filing of a SALN, in your opinion, waivable or prescriptible?
No, sir. Since it should not be waivable or prescriptable. First place, no. Government should have a leeway, no. Should have all the power to look at your assets, no. You already know that when you join government, that's one of the requirements, no. And it is your duty, no, to compile all this SALN. As a matter of fact, when I joined government first time in 2006, I already made a compilation up to now. No, I put that in our vault. No, delikado eh, baka mamaya. uh, and I do not rely on the Supreme Court to or other agencies to just to hold the SALNs all for safety.
What
Uh,
about what about a lifestyle check? Do you think it's also important to conduct lifestyle checks on public officials?
I'm okay with that, Justice, no? Because personally, no, I really wanted a lifestyle checks on all, especially on judicial officers. I'm sorry, I cannot mention some judges, no, that I see that they live beyond their means, apparently, no, but there's no proof on my part, no. Uh, that's why we encourage a, random lifestyle check. No? It's as judges, we have to project an image of na wala tayong ano, no? Wala tayong tinatago. Uh, uh, that's why I subscribe to the idea that a lifestyle check should be done once in a while. A random one, no?
You are applying for the appellate court, and if appointed, you'll be joining a collegial body. Do you have any reservation about coming out with a dissenting opinion if you do not agree with the opinion of the ponente, for example, the other member of the division?
I if I sincerely believe that a dissenting opinion should be written, I should write one, no? So that I could express my my views on this. I don't know how the others would take it, Justice. So I have no experience on that. No? Well,
Supposing, Supposing you are the ponente and the other members of the division in the appellate court disagrees with you and issues a dissenting opinion, will that hurt your feelings?
I don't know. There's a if there's a leeway for hurt feelings in the. That's why, guys, that we have to be there. No, it's an exchange of ideas. No, three heads should be discussing. No, and I've read a lot of dissenting opinions also in the Supreme Court. No, if you look at it, no, if you're an outsider, you would be thinking that one justice is attacking the other, but it's part of the judicial process.
What about a dissenting opinion? Does it have jurisprudential value?
Um, Once it's adopted, no, in later on in the later years, no, uh, it could have jurisprudential value, and sometimes justice I noticed, no, in the Supreme Court when there are later cases, they adopt the dissenting opinion opinions of the previous cases. No?
But as a judge, is it permissible? Is it proper to cite a dissenting opinion because you are struck, you are awed by that dissenting opinion?
I don't have an experience of citing a dissenting opinion. No? And better be safe under the drugs court system where the private lawyers are very meticulous.
So somebody said a dissenting opinion is what the law is not. That is the dissenting opinion, because a dissenting opinion is a minority opinion. So in the Court of Appeals where you're applying, it's a division of three. In case of one dissent, what happens? Is it rule of the majority?
I I'm not really familiar, but I know if it's in the Sandigan Bayan, no, it would result to an acquittal, or oh, no, would be in the Court of Appeals. No, I think it should be unanimous. No,
So
the three
three
must.
members, three members of the division, you are one of the members, then you dissent. So which decision will be promulgated? The decision of the two?
Uh, I don't think so, Justice. No, it would be re-raffled to another division. If I'm not mistaken. No?
So it will be given to a division of five. So there
Five.
will be two others who will be appointed to a division of five, and the rule of the majority will prevail.
Yes, po.
Now, Judge, what is your understanding of the doctrine of waiver of double jeopardy? You know what double jeopardy is, but what is the doctrine of waiver of double jeopardy? You
Yeah.
handle criminal cases. What is your understanding?
Honestly, Justice, I know double jeopardy, but the waiver of double jeopardy, no? Am I allowed to guess? No.
Make an educated.
Well, as any other right, no, double jeopardy may be waived, no, by not filing a timely opposition, no, to the charges, no. Uh, there are some cases, especially I really remember in my career, the Sandigan Bayan of Marcos, no, where double jeopardy was set aside by the Supreme Court and the retrial was done. No?
So
But
when in a criminal case, when there is a dismissal of the case with the express consent of the accused, that is waiver of double jeopardy. Double jeopardy will not apply because the accused consented to the dismissal.
like in the provisional dismissal. Thank you, Justice.
What is your understanding of a habeas corpus petition?
I only handled one habeas corpus to bring the body, no, to the court.
So when is a petition for habeas corpus filed before your court? And for what purpose? Why do you have to bring the body? Why?
It's more not saying that it's a dead body, no, but you have to explain to the court the reason behind the detention, no. If the person is not under detention under your unit, you have also to explain to the court that that person is not with me, with us. So it's a proceeding where you have to bring to the judicial authorities and explain the reason for the detention of a certain person.
In a habeas corpus case, what is the difference between a preliminary citation from a peremptory writ? Have you come across that? Preliminary citation from a peremptory writ in a habeas corpus petition.
I think the first one is that you should look, no, you should look at the documents first, whether or not you must issue the writ, no? And in the second, you have to hear. There must be a hearing to determine the actual.
What is preliminary citation? You're a judge. When you issue in a habeas corpus petition a preliminary citation, so it's preliminary, what in effect are you asking?
If it's a complete in form and substance, no? And and the second one during must be made during the actual hearing already. No, if it's a
So preliminary citation is when there is a claim of illegal detention, but as a judge, you're not sure whether the detention is really illegal. So you issue a preliminary citation, meaning to say you ask the government officer having custody to show cause why the writ of habeas corpus should not be issued. Now, the other one is peremptory order. Can you make an educated guess what it is in a habeas corpus petition?
I think I cannot even preemptory. It's any measures adopted by the court, that pending ordering the detention officers to in the meantime prior to hearing, to protect the rights of the accused and also the safety of the accused, of the not the accused, of the person being brought to court by virtue of the proceedings.
Actually, you gave correct answer earlier. A peremptory order is when the judge is convinced that the detention appears to be patently illegal. So he issues a peremptory order for the government officer who has custody to bring the body of the person detained to the court. So that is the peremptory order. You're also applying, Judge, in the Court of Tax Appeals.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you an expert?
What?
Are you an expert in taxation?
Uh, uh, the last time that I handled a tax case was when I was assigned as a assisting judge, in Quezon City, MTC, MET, METC, where I'm one of the quote unquote tax courts, in the MTC level. That's my only exposure to the frankly, to the court, to the taxation cases as a member of the judiciary.
Okay. fundamentals, who is a resident citizen? What do you understand by resident citizen?
In terms of tax justice,
Yes, from taxation, from the point of view of taxation.
the one doing business in the Philippines and as a
You are
office.
a resident citizen. I'm also a resident citizen. You're a citizen residing in the Philippines. What about a non-resident citizen?
Uh, like my sister, no, is a non-resident citizen, stays in California,
She's still a citizen, but residing abroad.
residing abroad and working abroad.
What about a resident alien? Maria Reza.
I thought there's a follow-up phrase after the resident alien. Well, a foreign national, no?
Or Mr. Lopez. Mr. Lopez.
A foreign national residing in the Philippines, but not.
What about a non-resident alien?
If I could say,
I mean, it's self-explanatory, correct?
Yes.
Non-resident alien. Foreigner, not residing in the Philippines, but he could be doing business in
yes,
the
sir. Like online, no? Business.
And there could also be non-resident alien not engaged in business in the Philippines, correct?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
Justice.
Okay, let's talk about resident citizen like you and me. What income is taxable?
First, our compensation income, no? That's
So income in the Philippines taxable?
yes, sir. Yes,
Income outside of the Philippines taxable?
yes, Justice.
Okay. Now let's talk of non-resident citizen, your sister. What is taxable? Income in the Philippines, taxable?
Income in the Philippines is taxable.
Income in California, taxable?
Yes, Justice, strictly, no? It should be, no? But I don't know the rules on the
Non-resident citizen.
OFW. It could be non-taxable.
Resident alien. Foreigner residing in the Philippines.
Yes, sir.
Which income is taxable? From what source?
From income in the Philippines, no?
Income in the Philippines. Non-resident alien engaged in business. Which income is taxable?
Income derived from the Philippines.
And non-resident aliens not engaged in business. Which income is taxable?
If no income is derived from the Philippines, no income is taxable, Justice.
All right. That is my last question, Judge. My time is up.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Justice.
and good luck.
Please be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Tiham. The next interviewer is Honorable Judge Toribio E. Ilao Jr.
Morning, Justice.
Yes, thank you, Attorney Inting. Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good morning, Justice.
And I call you Judge Emilio Rodolfo Yabut. Ooh. So, you were previously interviewed by this council for Court of Appeals on October 24, 2019.
Yes.
And you you informed us that you were not shortlisted then.
No po.
Were you?
No. It's okay.
Anyway,
No po.
at this time, any substantial changes in your qualifications that this council may now consider you or nominate you to the appellate?
Academically, no, none. No, I stayed the same. No, but experience-wise, including in computers, because of online hearings and online webinars, I think I have gained lots of knowledge on how to dispose of cases.
Good. All right. You've been in the RTC of Manila for how many years? 9 years.
9 years po.
But you're a native of Antique.
Yes po.
remember.
San Jose, Antique.
What's the capital of Antique? Is it San Jose?
San Jose, Justice. San Jose.
Oh, the place of who are the legal luminaries in Antique? Just the then Justice Saldivar,
Calixto Saldivar.
Calixto Saldivar, Justice late Justice Barrera. No.
I am not aware. No? I know Attorney Fournier, the two Fourniers. They're
The
classmates. You reminded me last time about it.
yes, the infamous Fournier.
They're my good friends po.
Andresito Fournier.
Andy and Vic, no?
I'm big, okay. So Judge, you're applying in all appellate courts. Now, what's among your qualifications and experiences should the council take into consideration in evaluating your application?
In the Sandigan Bayan, since I know that it's a trial court, no? I and handling criminal cases. I think my trial experience, everyday trial experience, is maybe an asset to my application. No? To the Court of Appeals, my ability to learn more things, no, especially in the appellate court, and to do and to work in a team, no, especially in the divisions of the Court of Appeals, it could be an asset also. As to the CTA, though, I have a limited experience in the tax courts, no, but I also handled tax cases during my METC assisting days, and my ability to work with others, no, and then also to learn new things, maybe assets in my application, sir.
Areta, I didn't know whether the delving into your SAL and that if this matter had been asked by my colleagues. Areta, could you explain the substantial decrease in your net worth in 2019? Around 34.8 million in 2018 SALN, while around 16.6 million in 2019 SALN.
Uh, this can be explained by a footnote there that I did not include the deposits being held by my wife together with her three aunties, no. Also upon the advice of my friends and also by the council last time, no, that this could be a form of paraphernal property, just in case uh, these are eventually given to my wife, no. Second, I do not want to guess, no, the actual amounts there is because they're my wife. Do not want to disclose anymore these bank deposits, no. That's why I have to disclose in my SALN an asterisk there that this does not include the deposits being held by my wife jointly with her aunties, no, who are all residents of Calamba City.
It's so sad that you indicated also in your PDS about not signed by your wife with notation separated in fact.
Yes, sir.
By the way, Judge, what are your priorities in life?
Oh, my priorities is my God and then family, no, and then my career also.
And how do you manage in case of conflict?
Uh, First, no, we pray, no, for guidance, no, and then we discuss things, no, then we solve the problems.
And what is the greatest obstacle you are facing now? Your application again? No.
It's
That's
always, applying is really a gamble. No? The greatest obstacle right now is this pandemic. No, as much as we can do things the normal way, like disposing our cases as judges. No, we are tied by this video conference, which we must do. No, but really resulted to a lot of delays in our disposing of cases.
all right. What are other
Sorry.
few realizations in this pandemic?
Pardon, Justice. I didn't get it.
Other realizations during this pandemic?
Yeah, a realization that uh, we have to value, no, our time, no. We have to value our health. We have to value our work. No? We have to value everything that we have in life, no? And also not to be magastos pala, no.
Magastos nga nitong pandemic eh.
Magastos because we have to get three internet service providers. We have to spend in our health, no? And everything. No? We have to adjust, no? Because what is happening. We have to limit our travel. As a matter of fact, we cannot go home to the province to visit my siblings, no, because of the 15-day quarantine. Nakakalungkot na po, pero but we have to do our duty, no. We cannot even visit the judges here, our neighbors here, no. During the wake, no, my tita, my two of my aunts died. We cannot even conduct a wake, and we cannot view the remains because of a lot of things, no. But we have to adjust.
And at Judge, you're buying also the position of Associate Justice of the Court of Tax Appeal. All right. Now my question is this. A taxpayer has a tax delinquency in the amount of 2 million. He, however, has a claim of 2 million against a government when his property was expropriated. Can his tax liability be subject to compensation?
I don't think so, Justice.
Why?
Legal compensation. No. I in my limited tax knowledge, I don't think you could subject government to legal compensation. No, when one of the parties is government.
No, the question is, can there be an offsetting of taxes against the claims that the taxpayer may have against the government? Can there be an offsetting?
In offsetting, there must be a due and demandable obligation. I don't think you can offset, no, your tax liabilities with what the government owes you. In the first place, government has to set aside money before you are going to be paid. No? And taxes are the lifeblood of the government. So you are bound to pay within a certain period of time your tax liabilities, no, without waiting for the liability of the government on you. No? Tama
Alright.
ba, please?
Yes, tama. Kaya lang, kasi itong case na to, Francia versus IAC GR pa, 1988. Anyway, you're correct na nga. Alright, likewise, the 1987, the Constitution provides that, and I quote, Congress shall evolve a progressive system of taxation. How do you understand progressive taxation?
Progressive taxation, no? Simply stating that there should be the bigger your income, the bigger is your tax rate. The lower your income, there should be a progressive rates for each different tax brackets, no. That is what I understand with the progressive system of taxation.
Is a tax law which adopts a regressive system of taxation automatically invalid and unconstitutional?
So there should be a case should be filed to declare the tax law to be in violation of the Constitution. No. The courts must be the ones, no, to declare a tax law to be unconstitutional or invalid, not automatic. Nakakatakot, Justice, yung mga taxes. Ano mo na tanong, ha?
Siyempre, tingnan natin doon. Ako nag-a-apply din eh. Alam ko magaling ka sa ibang field ng ano. Alright, do you subscribe to the theory of Justice Malcolm that the power to tax is the power to destroy?
Yes po. No? It could be that way, no? Like, could I give an example?
Yes.
We don't want a certain industry to flourish, no? This is just an example, no? Like, or to limit, no? Like, we have to increase the alcohol tax, the cigarette tax, no? If you want to destroy the cigarette industry, all you have to do is to increase the taxes, no? Until the same would be unaffordable to the end users, no? And also to alcohol. Those are just examples, Justice.
All right, I'll delve into general, fundamental question lang naman siguro, general question. Kindly differentiate conclusiveness of judgment and bar by prior judgment.
In bar from prior judgment, there must be a previous judgment. The same parties, the same set of facts, and there must be a previous ruling that were based on the facts presented. No? Hindi ko na masabi yung conclusiveness. So, I'm sorry, Justin.
Anyway. Alright.
50% lang po ang answer.
Oh, sige, kalahati rin ang botong sa akin. Alright, construing constitutional provisions, are you an originalist or a functionalist?
Ano yung po yung isa? Regionalist?
Oh, originalist.
I'm more of a being a judge, no? I'm more of a follower of decisions of the Supreme Court. So I apply jurisprudence as it is, no? Kasi sabi kanina ni Justice Tiam, wag yung dissenting opinion eh. So
Why?
Everything must kowtow to the Constitution. No? All laws must follow, must not contravene the Constitution. Walang boto sa kanyang
What was the happiest period of your life? Hindi naman tayo sa brighter side naman ng buhay. No? Hindi naman yung panay lungkot na lang na pinagsasabihan.
When happiest, there are a lot of happy moments in my life, Justice. No? But I could cite a few. No, when my daughter was born, we were so happy, no? And another human being came out that we should be responsible forever for her, no? Also, when I got married, that was a happy moment also. I became a judge, following the footsteps of my father. That was a happy moment. Never in my life that I dreamed of becoming a judge after practicing law and engaging in business for the longest time. No? Uh, Also, passing the bar is a very happy moment. Marami po eh. Surviving this pandemic so far is also a happy moment. And konting bola, Justice, seeing you again here. They were all healthy. No, those are happy.
Thank you.
We're very happy to see each other, even online lang.
Still here.
Stay here. Sa office po kayo, Justice?
Wala, bahay lang kami. Not even once kami nagpunta ng opisina. Delikado, mahirap na.
Yes po.
Kayo,
A lot of
bata pa
my
kayo.
batchmates, if we count, I counted almost 20 already.
Yeah. Ayun na nga, ang mahirap.
It's not safe yet, no, to go out. Some die from pulmonary, some die from heart attack, from sepsis. Ay nako. Anyway, thank you po for
Hindi naman, we're not saying that we are bad grass, kaya buhay pa kami. Tayo rin.
Hindi po.
Alright, if you are given complete freedom, what would you really like to do?
Freedom from what po?
If you are given complete freedom,
I stay the same, Justice. No, I'm happy with my career. I enjoy my work, my challenges. No, I would still the same. No, I cannot imagine myself doing any other thing, no, except during retirement na. And that would be matagal pa. I'll be freedom to do more. No? I would do more. If I could just dispose all my cases in one day, I'll be doing it. No? A lot of things would come into my mind with that question, Justice.
all right, my last question, Judge. Why is it against the law for a man living in Manila to be buried in Quezon City?
Is it against the law to? I'm not.
Why is it against the law for a man living in Manila to be buried in Quezon City? You know, Manila has no own exclusive or owning its own cemetery.
Yes, sir. The South Cemetery is in Makati.
So,
North Cemetery is in Caloocan.
North is in La Loma, Quezon City.
La Loma. No.
So why is it against the law for a man living in Manila to be buried in Quezon City?
I don't know if it's against the law. No? Is this a joke, Justice?
No.
It's really in the law. I'm not aware of that law. No?
You would like to know the answer?
Yes po, I'm very much interested so that I could say that to my class.
Saka na lang kasi may ibang candidates pa.
Thank you
very much, Judge. Medyo just to lighten our moods naman, mahirap naman yung seryoso na rin na pag. So again,
thank you po.
Thank you, and good luck again. I hope that this time mas shortlist ka naman. Okay?
Thank you po.
Regards sa mga tiga-atike rin.
Sige
Alright,
po.
thank you, Tony Tali, and good luck.
Thank you.
Tony Tali, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Judge Ilaw. Thank you po.
Alam mo answer doon?
Yes po, alam ko po.
Huwag mo na sabihin sa
Ilan
iba.
po?
Share na po.
The next interviewer is Honorable Justice Jose Catral Mendoza.
Good noon na. Good noon na,
Good
no?
noon po.
Good noon, Judge.
Good noon po.
You're still strong. We have interviewed you before. We have asked you a lot of questions before, but you applied only in the Court of Appeals, right?
Yes.
Not in the CTA and Sandigan Bayan.
Opo.
Okay. And you took up political science in UP. Why did you not take up law in UP?
It's a long story, no. I was not able to get the tough LAE exam, so because I missed the deadline, no. And then that's why
The toughest part was the deadline.
I cannot say because I did not take it.
Oh, you did not take it. Oh, I see. Okay. Anyway, you took up political science from UP. What is natural law?
Natural.
Oh, that's a giveaway. You took up political science in UP.
Everything that is good, no?
Everything that is good, natural law. How about the bad? How about the bad, natural law? You forgot your political science?
I forgot already.
Anyway, your legal philosophy in the College of Law. What is natural law? How do you distinguish it from positive law? Okay, what is natural law? Oh, who was your professor in UP? Wetot or Yetot?
Ang tagal na po yun,
Dapat di mo nakalimutan. Because you carried it sa law school. You forgot?
I forgot po.
You forgot? It's a man's basic understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Okay?
Yes po.
Is it embodied in our laws?
In a sense, no, partly but not mainly. No?
Can you explain?
Well, if I in my limited recollection, more natural law, yung mga British law, no. But here there must be a positive law or laws are enacted by Congress. No?
Oh.
But eventually,
is it recognized under our laws? Is there a provision under our laws where natural law is mentioned?
Non-justice, no, except
none.
Except that we adopt.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Except from the provision, no, that we adopt the general principles of laws of other countries, no. So far as it's not
other countries, the laws of other countries, they are natural laws. Laws of other countries
that are not inconsistent with our laws.
So they are considered natural laws.
General accepted principles of law. Parang installment lahat.
Kabaliktad. The accurate word is international law, where the Philippines is a signatory. It becomes part of the law of the land. How about judicial decisions? They become part of the law of the land.
If they are not inconsistent with our laws, no, justice.
Supreme Court decisions. I'm referring to Supreme Court decisions.
Of other countries.
Are they laws that considered the laws of the land? They become laws of the land.
Our Supreme Court po?
Yes, Supreme Court decisions.
Yeah. They are not considered laws of the land, no, but they are the exact interpretation of our laws. No? As
what is the civil code provision on that? Only one sentence.
civil code provision.
Court decisions applying or interpreting a laws. What?
Should form part of our should form part of the laws of the land.
The same as international law. You're sure of that?
In international law,
After this interview, you check your Article 8.
yes, po.
Okay.
They form part of the laws of the land.
You are sure? Do you have access to Article 8 right now?
Am I allowed to Google it now?
Oh, no, not Google, just a book para hindi magtagal. Article 8. I have not permitted others. Pero okay,
Shall form part of the legal part of the legal system.
naintindihan mo na.
Opo.
What is the difference
Between
being a law of the land and part of the legal system?
Part of the legal system because it's a Supreme Court, no? Or the courts are the ultimate interpreters of the law. No? It forms part of the legal system, though they are not laws per se. No, they form part of the interpretation eventually of the legal system.
They do not become laws of the land.
Yes, sir. Yes, Justice.
Are you sure?
Yes, Justice.
You're not sure now because you Googled it.
Okay,
what is the law of why then do they call it law of the case? When is a decision considered a law of the case?
Strictly, no. It's I don't know why they called it the law of the case when it's.
You should know. You should know.
It's only
you should know. You should know. Law of the case, kayang-kaya ng yan, ng mga new graduates or 40 students or remedial law students.
It's only applicable to that certain case.
No? What cases? What is the situation?
Frankly, Justice, I cannot answer that right now. No?
You cannot answer that? The law of the case, what is the situation? When is it used?
I'm sorry, Justice. No, I don't want to make a bad guess considering that this is recorded. No?
Bakit kung hindi recorded?
Baka mabas po tayo.
So you're not sure? You do not know what the law of the case is?
I'm not sure right now at the moment.
You're not sure? Okay. We are still with Article 8. What are the effects of a final judgment of a court?
The effects of final judgment?
Yes.
It finally resolves the issues brought before the court, no? Applying all the legal all the laws applicable to the case.
What is the general effect? Para hindi ka na nag-isip. Generally lang.
Res judicata.
Yes, res judicata between the parties. What is, how do you distinguish res judicata from conclusiveness of judgment?
Now I'm panicking. I cannot answer those questions anymore, Justice. So.
Think. Make an intelligent guess. Very basic yun, di ba? Studied that in Arellano.
Too much drugs court cases right now in my...
In your sala, too much drug, but not in your head.
I'm sorry, Justice.
Oh,
Uh, a conclusiveness of judgment.
yes.
Uh,
Anyway, ang conclusiveness of judgment is just one aspect of res judicata. Okay? What is the other aspect of res judicata?
that uh, there is a final judgment on the
There is a final judgment nga. That is the effect of final judgment, res judicata. What are the two aspects of res judicata?
uh,
I give you one, conclusiveness of judgment. What is the other one?
similar parties, no?
Similar parties. No, that is on the effect. The
Iba
other
kaya,
one is barred by prior judgment. The other one is conclusiveness of judgment. Oh, conclusive on what?
on the parties that brought the case before the court. No?
What else?
Uh, on the issues that were brought before the
Okay. What issues? They describe the issues covered by conclusiveness of judgment.
uh, the issues,
Yes.
the legal issues that were brought during the trial. No? Eh, I'm sorry, Justice. No?
Ako man na isa, they cover issues or matters directly or actually determined by the decision. But they also cover issues that could have been raised or litigated in the anterior suit. Okay, you remember?
Yes po.
Sige. Nakakalmutan mo. Mga basic lang yan. Hindi naman masyadong kahirapan. What is immutability of judgment then? Hindi na tayo lumalayo para maalala mo lahat.
That a judgment that once become final, no? Cannot be touched anymore.
Yung immutability.
Opo.
Okay, there are exceptions. Can you give me at least 5 exceptions?
When it is subject to a relief from judgment.
That is annulment of a judgment of relief from judgment under 38.
38.
Immutability. What I mean here is there are no more remedies available to the parties. So we are now on immutability. What are the 5 exceptions? Generally accepted exceptions on the rule of immutability.
Sorry, Justice, I cannot answer that right now.
I'll give you 2. Correction of clerical errors. Okay? Nunc pro tunc entries. What are the other 3?
Receipt.
You read Apo Fruits already? Apo Fruits versus Land Bank. It's there, the 5.
Residual orders.
Residual orders. No. You change the with respect to final judgment, you because of residual orders, you can alter them.
No, I don't mean that, Justice.
Oh, yes, because you said residual orders. I gave you 2 na. The third is void judgment. What else?
Hindi ko po ma-answer yan, Justice.
Hindi yung kaya, 2 na lang. Okay, what is nunc pro tunc entries? or judgment? Nunc pro tunc.
I'm sorry, Justice. Frankly, no, I don't.
Hindi mo alam.
Cannot recall right now.
Okay, generally, what are the remedies against a final judgment? Andun pa lang tayo sa judgment, ubus na oras.
Oo nga po. Motion for new trial.
Yung
Motion
trial under Rule 37.
37.
Yes. What else?
Motion for reconsideration.
Motion for reconsideration. What else?
Uh,
You listen. Did you hear my question? The remedies against a final judgment. Okay, what you are giving remedies against a judgment which is not yet final. So on both counts, you're not correct. So what are the remedies against a final judgment?
relief from judgment. When judgment is already entered.
Yes, you mentioned earlier. What else?
Petition for review.
No, when you file a petition for review, it is not yet final. The other one is annulment of judgment. What is annulment of judgment under Rule 47? You're applying in the Court of Appeals. You should know this.
It's an annulment of judgments on the RTC. No?
Proceed. Continue.
When petition for relief from judgment is not applicable, no? or beyond the 6-month period already.
Continue.
It is filed before the Court of Appeals to annul the judgment in the made by the RTC.
Yes, that's what I mentioned. What else? Okay, on what grounds?
Can annulment of judgment, a fame, fraud, accident, mistake, inexcusable negligence.
That is correct. Those are correct grounds for a motion for new trial, including newly discovered evidence. They are also ground for relief of judgment, but they are not grounds for annulment of judgment. Anyway, I'll give you again one. Lack of jurisdiction. What is the other?
Hindi ko I haven't read that far, Justice. I only
You reviewed Court of Appeals only. Linundagan mo, you went to the Court of Tax Appeals, and then you went to the Sandigan Bayan.
I'm sorry, Justice.
Di ko ba ito natanong last time? The other one is extrinsic fraud. Okay? What is the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeals on annulment of judgment?
Judgment of the regional trial courts.
Yes, that is the subject matter. What is the nature of the power of the Court of Appeals over such remedy?
Are we talking here of appellate jurisdiction, Justice?
You call it appellate jurisdiction of the Court of Appeals?
Over decisions of RTC, quasi-judicial bodies.
I see. Oh, that's Rule 43. Pinaghalo mo na. I'm asking yan yung annulment of judgment. What is the nature of the power of the Court of Appeals? Yes. I will answer for you. It is original jurisdiction, exclusive. It means there are no such remedies in the other courts. Now, in the court of tax appeals, where you are also applying, after the decision of a division became final and executory, the taxpayer discovered that extrinsic fraud was committed. So he filed, because it is final and executory, cannot file a petition for review. He filed an annulment of judgment because under the internal rules of the Court of Tax Appeals, the rules shall be suppletorily applied, the rules of court. What can you say about it? Can you use it? Annulment of judgment.
In the Court of Tax Appeals.
Yes, from the Court of Appeals. Court of Tax Appeal, o CTA na lang. Tongue twister yun eh. CTA division decision became final. So, there's no more remedy of appeal, right? Final na eh. In the RTC, if it is final and there is extrinsic fraud, you can file a petition for annulment of judgment before the CA, right? We covered that earlier. Or can the taxpayer file an annulment of judgment before the Court of Tax Appeals or CTA and bank?
I think you can justice by going to the in-bank of the CTA.
Oh, what is your basis?
As you stated, the subletory character of the rules of court.
With respect to the rules,
Yes.
suppletory.
Yes.
Wala naman ako sinabing suppletory rin sa jurisdiction. Okay?
Yes po.
Well, in the case of CIR versus Ilihan, the CTA has no jurisdiction to entertainment an annulment of judgment petition. What do you think is the ground?
No idea po, Justice.
No, your best guess as a judge.
There is no law allowing the Court of Tax Appeals to annul judgment of its own division, of one of its divisions. I think it should be the Supreme Court.
It should be the Supreme Court. He should file it in the Supreme Court.
That's a wild guess. That's a
wild
guess.
guess. Okay lang. Okay. Well, it's the tama ka dun. The reason is that jurisdiction is conferred by law and the law has not conferred jurisdiction over the CTA.
I have not read that when I read 9282 on CTA.
Sorry. You did not read that.
So that's why I made a wild guess. Pag wala dun sa law, you cannot confer jurisdiction.
What did you read when you read that CTA?
Well, expounding the jurisdiction of the CTA.
Yes. Okay. So you saw there that a taxpayer or the other party can file if it is not satisfied with the decision of the CTA division, he will go to the CTA and bank, right?
Yes.
What is the procedure?
I did not go into the procedure, but it must be.
Nandun din yan eh. It's right there. When you read you can appeal to the city and back. The procedure is there.
Motion for reconsideration on the division.
If you file a motion for reconsideration, you file it before the same court, right? No.
Yes po.
Ah,
Yes po.
baka nahihilo ka na.
Gutom na po.
Gutom na. Pareho tayo. Oh. So you do not remember reading that? Nandun yan eh. Same line. Section 11. The procedure is the same procedure as that of Rule 42. Okay? Of the Rules of Court, right?
I guess po.
Okay. You guess na naman. Ano ka maano sa CTA niya? Okay. Rule 42 lang ba?
Ang ano po, yung supletory?
Rule 42 lang ba? Hindi na supplementary. Yung provided in the law.
I cannot remember.
There is also Rule 43. Okay, what is Rule 43? You're going to the Court of Appeals. You're also applying sa Court of Tax Appeals. Both procedures are recognized there. What is Rule 43?
As I told you, Justice, kanina, I haven't read up sa mga...
Kala ko nabasa mo yung appeal.
That's why in the law itself, RA 9282 lang.
Di nandun yun.
On jurisdiction. No?
Yes, pati yung procedure. Ano, speed reading ginawa mo?
Aralin na lang po pag na...
Pag na-appoint. Hindi naman namin pwede ilagay na he promised to study if he gets appointed. Oh. Hindi na, kalimutan mo niya, Rule 43. Alis na tayo sa taxation. You are also applying sa Court of Appeals. 40% ng kaso doon, labor. Okay, what is economic reality test? Economic reality test.
I'm sorry, Justice. I do not know that.
Nakakalimutan mo na rin. Di ba tinuro sa Aureliano?
Tagal na po yun.
Ano yung alam mo, ang dami mo na nakalimutan. Ano pa kaya? What is constructive dismissal? Madali na lang yon.
When there's no actual dismissal, no, but you made the employer acted, no, as if that would result to the dismissal of an employee.
Resulting in the hindi nga din i-dismiss eh. But the employee complained.
Yeah, made it hard for the employee to continue with this employment.
How do you what is the exact word there?
Made actions of the employer that made the employee made it hard for the employee to continue with his employment, like assigning him the faraway place or forcing
making his stay there unbearable.
Yes, forcing him to.
How about acts of disdain, hostile behavior?
Hostile behavior.
Are those grounds, or you consider other? You consider the other circumstances?
and also the other circumstances that made employment unbearable or for the employee.
When is it acts of disdain one ground or considered constructive dismissal?
When you make the work environment so much unbearable for the employee, that would result him from normally doing his work. It would be constructive dismissal.
Yeah, yung ang tanong ko yung acts of disdain to constitute to constitute to constitute constructive dismissal. But they are considered constructive dismissal when they create an atmosphere of antagonism and animosity between the parties. Okay, that is the Bayview case versus Correct. It's August 2020 decision of the Supreme Court. How do you keep yourself abreast of the latest Supreme Court decision? You are a drugs court, diba?
I read the publications of the Supreme Court sa
Yes,
website.
that's why I'm asking you. Baka nabasa mo yan. Oh. Siguro last la ito, last. A was dismissed and he filed an action or complaint for illegal dismissal with the labor arbiter. The labor arbiter decided in his favor. When it was elevated to the LLRC, the NLRC reversed the LA ruling. So A went to the CA. What is the petition before the CA? Diba, under the labor code, the decision of the NLRC is final?
Yes.
Oh. Why does the Court of Appeals entertain it?
Petition for review on certiorari po.
Petition for review on certiorari.
Opo.
Are you sure?
I think I'm sure.
We're sure. No, because it is final. The allegation is grave abuse of discretion. It should be a 65. It should be a 65 petition for certiorari. Okay. Okay. The employee went to the Court of Appeals. The employee failed to comply with the requirements of the Court of Appeals. So the Court of Appeals dismisses petition. His petition for certiorari under Rule 65. He filed a motion for reconsideration. It was denied. So the A went to the Supreme Court claiming abuse or arguing that a grave abuse of discretion was committed by the Court of Appeals. Is it the primary remedy?
It would be, I think I would treat it as a certiorari under Rule 65 because and treat it as an original action in the Supreme Court.
Original action of certiorari, 65.
65 po.
Yes.
Because
certiorari, the rule is that it cannot be used for lost appeal.
Yes.
Yes. Oh. After the denial of the after the denial of the motion for reconsideration, the remedy should have been a petition for review on certiorari under Rule 45. Okay? Not petition for certiorari. Okay?
Okay po, before the Supreme Court.
Yes, before the Supreme Court. Now, what is the reason? Make an educated guess. You have been in the judiciary for a long time. You can easily answer that.
Because
Mm.
it's not the jurisdiction anymore of the NRRC that is being. It's not
Mm.
the jurisdiction anymore, no?
Ah,
Of the CA ba yun? Court of Appeals
yes,
being questioned, no?
assailed. Oh,
But the findings, including
but the findings. Oh,
so it's a petition for review on certiorari.
yes. Oh, so what is the reason there? Bakit petition for review on certiorari ang under Rule 45, not 65? Sabi mo, you have been reading cases, latest. This is Oliveros versus Court of Appeal, September 16. Oh, pero reiteration lang naman ito ng mga previous doctrines. What is the reason cited by the Supreme Court?
Yes, we are reviewing, no, already the not only jurisdiction but also the findings, no, of the Court of Appeals.
Anyway, the reason was given was that the assailed issuances of the Court of Appeals are final resolutions. If they are final resolutions of the Court of Appeals, although not yet really final in a sense that you can go to the Supreme Court, the only remedy is a petition for certiorari, petition for review on certiorari under Rule 45. So you study Rule 45 and Rule 65, the difference, especially on labor. You read that also, Oliveros versus Court of Appeals, regarding jurisdiction, the difference between Rule 45 petition and Rule 65 petition. We lack time na, hindi na ako makapunta sa Sandigan Bayan. Siguro sa Sandigan Bayan ka ready, no?
Justice naman. hindi
You're
na answer yung
sige, hindi na tayo pupunta kasi
sige po.
kasi marami pa akong tanong sa Sandigan Bayan.
Stay safe po.
Gusto mo pumunta ako doon sa Sandigan Bayan? Konti lang.
Hindi pa kayo nagugutom, Justice?
Hindi, okay lang. Kumain na ako ng breakfast.
Hirap po naman tanong nyo.
Basic lang yun. Basic lang, di ba? Basic lang. Judgment, very basic. Hindi naman ako naghahanap ng mga these are ordinary issues. Basic lang. Yung judgment, conclusiveness of judgment, law of the case. Alam mo yun, nakalmutan nila
Sana pwede mag-codigo, Justice, ano? Hindi pwede
Sa interview, hindi. Pero pag na-appoint ka na, pwede open book. O sige, baka talagang gutom ka na. Wala nang energy sa baka low sugar ka na. Sige, thank you very much, Judge, and good luck. Your excuse.
Thank you po.
Oo.
Thank you, Judge.
Oo, baka hindi ka nag-breakfast. Ako nag-breakfast. Ewan ko sa Tony Tali, baka gutom na rin. Kumain na raw ng tanghalian. Oo.
Thank you, Judge
Ah,
Legaspi.
sige.
And
Thank you
Judge
po.
good luck.
Yes. And be safe.
Sige.
I can leave now.
Hindi mahirap yun. Basic lang yun.
Pero
Tanong mo sa
pag
first year student. Tanong mo first year student.
ako po stricto sa ano no? Stricto sa class pero pag ako pala tinatanong, hindi rin ako makasagot.
Kaya ngayon, huwag ka stricto sa class. potential judge yung yung
It's
baka
okay po.
mag-apply sa baka mag-apply sa JBC in the future estudyante nyo.
Sige po, stay safe po.
Sige. Pero pahabol pero wag na, gutom na kayo.
Wag na po, ang hirap.
Inumpisahan ko yung natural law eh. Anyway, you read 1423 of the Civil Code. Nandun yung natural law mention. Para after that, sana marami pa akong tanong pero sabi mo, masakit na ulo. Sige. Kasi political science graduate ka, kaya ka tinanong sa iyo. Oo.
Pag natural law kasi makapasok palagi London Britain.
Ay, sosala. Oo, sige. Thank you. Excuse.
Thank you, Honorable
You can
Justice.
leave na. You can leave na. Pag hindi pa kayo nag-leave, marami pa akong tanong.
Pwede na po ako mag-leave
Nakita nyo, red button, red.
Okay, sige po. Thank you.
Pag hindi nyo napindot yan, I have more questions for you.
Sige po.
Thank you, Justice. That concludes the public panel interviews for this morning. We will resume at 2 o'clock p.m. Justice?
Yeah, 2 o'clock p.m. Thank you.
Kaya na po.
Ako napapagod eh.
Kaya
Hindi
na po
naman na,
kayo.
umalis na ako sa mahirap na question. Pumunta